Rusty, the little diesel, loves his job as a maintenance engine. It is his job to take care of the engines and help repair the line. As a result, Rusty was given many friends. But there is one special friend Rusty always likes visiting. And that was Mrs. Sandy. Every winter, the engines would need sand for their sandboxes. The ice would thin in the rails, making them very slippery. That is where Miss Sandy comes in. It is her job to transport sand from the road to the depot where all the engines were waiting. One day, Rusty pulled into the mountain station. When he arrived, he could see that Mrs. Sandy was rushing about, lifting and unloading materials into her lorry. She looked tired. "Hello, ma'am," called Rusty. "How you feeling?" Mrs. Sandy jumped. "Oh, Rusty! Oh, thank heavens, I didn't see you there." "Everything all right?" asked Rusty. "You seem tired." "Oh, yes, Rusty. Everything's fine. I'm supposed to be taking some salt to spread on the roads. We don't want any more cars getting out of control," she said with a chuckle. "Right, well, you best be careful," advised Rusty. Don't worry about me, Rusty. I'm sure I'll be fine." Soon the salt was loaded, and she was on her way. She hadn't gone too far, though, as the lorry made strange noises. "What the?" Then something popped. She soon got out and inspected the damage. "Blast it!" she exclaimed. "My tire's been blown. Now I won't be able to make the delivery to the roads." The lorry sighed dreadfully, and Rusty felt very sorry for the woman. But there was nothing he or his driver could do. So they went off home. Later the next morning, Rusty told Rheneas and Skarloey all about what had happened. Both Rheneas and Skarloey were at loss for words. "Such a terrible thing to happen to her," murmured Rheneas. "She's worked so hard to get our sand," added Skarloey. "Some reward the world gives to her. I wish there was something we could do to repay her. She had already helped us. Now we should help her." Then Skarloey had an idea. "There are many industrial places around here. Maybe some of them might have a spare tire." "Good idea, Skarloey," added Rheneas. "And then we could take it to Miss Sandy and use it to repair her lorry," interrupted Rusty. "Skarloey, Rheneas, you both are geniuses." Their drivers agreed, and soon the engines set off on their important mission. The three little friends searched around the many best places they could find. They looked in tunnels, puffed around stations, and even looked around the yard site. Finally, they decided to look around the repair yard. But when they arrived at the works, there was not that many parts. The cars were empty, all the lumber was stacked, but there was still no sign of tires anywhere. The engines sighed wearily. They were just about to call it a day when Elizabeth trundled alongside. "Good gracious," she exclaimed. "What has gotten you three so puffed out?" "Whew, long story," panted Rusty. "What have you got there?" "Oh, just this old crate of tires," said Elizabeth. "Foreman said there's no much use for them now, I'm taking them away. And that gave Rusty an idea. Elizabeth, it's perfect. What is perfect? Rusty didn't answer. He instead scurried off. Soon Rusty came back with some empty cars, and his driver quickly explained the plan to Elizabeth's driver. Elizabeth thought this was ridiculous, but Rusty reminded how important Miss Sandy was. Well, I suppose anything's better than sitting alone in your old shed again. Soon the tires were transported onto Rusty's cars, and the little diesel was off in a flash. Later, Miss Sandy was standing helplessly near her lorry. Suddenly, the sound of a horn echoed through the valley, and soon Rusty trundled into the yard. The woman was surprised to see him. "Oh, Rusty, what are you doing here?" she asked. "Just passing through with a special delivery," tooted Rusty. Annie was surprised and took a look in his cars. Then she gasped. "Bless me! Are those are new tires. They're here to fix your old lorry." "Oh, thank you, Rusty." I don't know what to say. "Oh, it wasn't just me," admitted Rusty. Just then, Skarloey and Rheneas puffed alongside. "I had a little help from Skarloey and Rheneas," chuckled Rusty. Rheneas and Skarloey whistled happily. Soon the lorry's wheels were readjusted, and the lorry sprung into action. Miss Sandy looked back at the engines and gave a jolly honk. This was to say thank you. Hearing this, the engines whistled with delight. But Rusty was the loudest of all.